Hello everyone, and welcome to another video by Fans UCAT Education. So if you don't know who I am, I did the UCAT in 2019 where I was able to get a score of 3250, which actually placed me in the 99th percentile, in fact, above the 99th percentile. And pretty much from here, I just want to sort of share to other people as to how I actually ended up getting to the score. And with that, I actually ended up sort of starting a sort of tutoring business, just sort of tutoring many sort of students. And then from there, I was actually able to achieve a very incredible success rate with a 100% success rate for all students who are actually able to sort of follow through my program successfully, with over 70 students taught. And now from here, I'm actually looking to bring these tips to everyone through this sort of YouTube channel. So I'm very excited to do so. And actually now with that introduction completed, well, I guess sort of carrying on from that introduction, I'm going to sort of introduce something that I really want to sort of show you guys. Show you all, and pretty much this is just a proven study plan for the UCAT. So if you guys actually hopped into this video, you would already have, if you guys have, by the title of the video, sorry, you'd have actually come to sort of see what exactly I'm sort of looking to show you here. It's just simply a proven study plan to actually get you all started with the UCAT. And the thing is that I feel like this is actually very important because the thing is that, many students do want to train for the UCAT, but the issue is that they don't actually really know how to get into it properly. And they sort of just end up sort of like, stalling and just waiting until it's too late and everything. And the thing is that if you're actually on this video right now, so at the sort of like around the stuff upload time and everything, kind of like November-ish, the thing is that you are actually making an incredible decision, because the thing is that when it comes to students, they don't actually look to study early enough or train early enough. And with that, it actually comes back to bite them, because the thing is that, training can't actually successfully be done within just a few months. But that's something I'm going to talk about in another video later. Anyways, so to sort of get started now. So I'm just going to share my screen and hopefully you can see what I have to teach for today. So proven study plan to start studying for the UCAT. And pretty much just before I get started on that though, I do just sort of want to remind you all that I actually have a Google Forms where you can just simply request a private tutoring session with me. It's a premium, exclusive, and extraordinarily high quality program where you'll be able to actually learn quite a lot of information from me and pretty much improve in any sort of area that you want, any sort of difficulties. You can ask me any questions, ask for general tips, ask for exam tips, just ask for lifestyle tips as well. I'm very happy to answer with all those. And that is access through the Google form. It's also going to be in the description as well. So please have a look there if you are interested. And also, if you're looking for a free option, you can also just look on the Discord UCAT community that I actually have as well. It's just a community where you can pretty much just go ahead and just sit and just sort of immerse yourself in a group of people trying to study the UCAT or train for the UCAT just like you. And also, you can also ask me questions there as well, and I'll be glad to answer them at any sort of time. So there's the community. But anyway, so what I'm going to go through today. So what we're going to go through today is just simply the rationale, just sort of me rationalizing why I decided to do that, but that bit may not be what you're looking for. So you can just feel free to skip to the next part, which is the part that I really want to take you all towards, which is the study plan itself. Just going to be talk to that briefly and everything. And I think you're going to be quite surprised at the sort of approach that I do things and everything. Because the thing is that you're going to find that many sort of, I guess, tutors and YouTubers, is anyone really, they're always just telling you exactly how, like, they're telling you to do this amount of training, but they don't actually tell you how to sort of step into that and everything. Because the thing is that if we could all just simply step into like the hour or 2 hours or whatever time they actually ask us to do, then we'd actually be all successful and everything. But then the thing is that it's a harder sort of thing. Discipline and also just simply keeping consistency is something that's very difficult in many aspects of life, not just the UCAT, like, for example, the gym or any sort of new hobby, any sort of like, new program or something like that, like, dance or something like that. It's all very difficult. And I'm going to wrap it up with a final summary, as I always do. Okay, so let's sort of get started now. So the rationale and everything. Okay, so like I was sort of saying before, so the study plan can sort of, well, I just like sort of like, rationalizing what I'm sort of doing. Yeah, like rationalizing what I'm doing. And yeah, pretty much just to sort of say as well, yeah, and also this study plan can actually be very confusing. So I actually can just sort of use this time to sort of just talk about the ideas behind my choice and everything. So why I'm doing what I'm sort of choosing in this sort of study plan. Okay, and I want to make it clear as well, just sort of precursor as well, that this study plan is not going to be the plan that you're actually going to be using as a full study plan in the absolute peak of your training. So it's not going to be like, the training plan that you're going to go to, like, when you're like a month or two away from the UCAT. That's not what I'm looking for. It's rather just something that you sort of want to do just to ease yourself into the training itself, just to sort of ease yourself into the actual training. So something that, you want to go with, so like, a week, it's like, just to start off and everything, pretty much like I was saying before, just ideally at this time, this sort of early on stage and everything, it's by far the best time for you to actually get started with the actual training itself, this sort of plan itself, not something you want to use 1 or 2 months ago. So this is why I was saying it's very good for you to get yourself started early. But yeah, pretty much within the plan itself. So it just formed from the idea that pretty much, well, when it comes to actually building anything, actually something to actually starting with something that's actually consistent is by far the most important factor. And then pretty much once you're there and everything, you can actually begin, and as your habits begin to form and everything, then you can actually just go with a more sort of intense program. But we want to start off just with something consistent. And pretty much the way, and yeah, pretty much I'm about to link to that, but pretty much getting consistency is by far the most important thing. And the thing is that, you know, as we sort of like, you know, go from there, we're going to get you some habits. And then from there, we can build into a more sort of intense program. And the thing is that, you know, that's the thing. So the habits can actually take a very long time to develop. So the thing is, we really want to start with consistency, because it's sort of habit that you sort of build and everything. It's not going to come very easy. We're going to have to, so pretty much the idea is that, you know, need to sort of build you with something consistent so you can actually end up starting off, so you can actually build into that sort of habit and everything. And then from there, you can do whatever you want. But yeah, you need to start with something consistent and sort of like link with that idea and everything. So this next one right here, I'm starting the program off, or this sort of like timetable plan off with something that's actually very easy and everything. And pretty much you can actually step into it and also make mistakes as well with that. So the thing is that, yeah, so pretty much as a part of building this consistency, you need to actually, yeah, as a part of building this sort of consistency, in this sort of like, program that's sort of building, and just in general, the thing is that you need to sort of like, you know, well, it's about, well, consistency is literally doing something and being able to sort of like, you know, continually do it. In order to actually have something that you want to continually do, you need to start off with something that's actually very, very easy. And the thing is that it's also something that actually allows for mistakes as well. Because the thing is that if you actually start with too hard, you're not going to want to get into it in the first place. Or you do get into it and you're going to crash and burn after like a few days. So you never, you know, you don't have any consistency. You're never going to build that habit. So it doesn't really matter at all. And the thing is that if you also, and the reason why I allow you to make mistakes is because, you know, if you actually end up going into things with like a negative mentality, which is something I'm guessing I'm going to explain in like a later video and just my other videos as well, if you want to go check them out. If you actually go into something with a negative mentality, then you're going to actually end up being shut down and everything. It's just because, I guess the sort of principle is, if you see yourself as like, you know, bad or disappointing after making a mistake, then the thing is that you're always going to actually then, you know, you will not going to want to do anything, because why would a person who is bad or make mistakes, or like, you know, who's bad or terrible, want to actually continue to do anything? So keeping a positive mentality is actually very important as well. And, you know, this entire sort of thing is taken from my own sort of experiences and everything, and also the experiences of others as well. But pretty much when it came to me sort of sticking to something, it was not me sort of like, you know, trying to jump into like the deep end. Yeah, trying to jump into like the deep end. Yeah, trying to do like the hardest things possible. Yeah, like, you know, trying to, for me, like, you know, try to go into like, you know, the hardest gym routine or something like that. It came from starting up small, getting that sort of consistency right there, just getting something consistent that I can sort of stick with. And then from there, sort of developing the habit. And then from there, I could sort of like, you know, do whichever I wanted to and everything. Anyway, so that's the rationale. So let's get into the sort of exciting stuff now, which exciting things that which you might want. Now, this is the actual study plan itself. So pretty much it's sort of split into 2 bits and everything, because it's just too big to fit into the actual one slide. So pretty much what I've decided to do is sort of just split them off. But here pretty much is the first 14 days and everything. So pretty much, yeah, we're starting off very, very easy. So I did really mention that this is very easy, and I am really sticking. I promise you, this really is absolutely easy and everything. This is definitely wasn't lying about that. Pretty much on day 1, you want to just open up your browser. So pretty much open up your browser, literally open up browser. I'm literally talking about open up Google Chrome, nothing else. Open up Google Chrome. That's your first step and everything, okay? Then yeah, day 2 gets a bit harder. So now you're gonna open up Medify, and if you don't have Medify, it's any sort of training program that you use. If you use an in-person book, then I guess maybe change day 1 to something like literally get the book off the shelf, and then day 2, you're opening the book itself. So pretty much starting off very, very simple, okay? Then you go to the next day. The next day is actually when you open up a Medify question or the training program question. Literally, you're not doing a question, you're just simply opening it up, okay? And day 4, where you're actually going to complete 1. And the thing is that this is sort of one thing I want to emphasize as well. So if you watch my other videos, if you've had any sort of training with the UCAT, you're going to realize that when it comes to these sorts of questions, they don't actually sort of put them like, you know, one by one. They usually lump them together. Like, you know, for example, verbal reason, you have the text, and then you have like the 4 questions that come with that. Quantitative reasoning, you're gonna have like, well, you sometimes gonna have like single questions, but usually it's like that piece of information they give you in multiple questions with that. So that's the idea. And pretty much with that, you're only doing 1 of those questions. So you're not doing 1 set, you're doing just 1 question, literally 1 question. It's gonna take you a minute or 2, just 1 question, yeah? And now day 5, 2 questions. Day 6, you're actually going to do 1 of those sets and everything, like I was saying before, with that sort of text and those questions and verbal reasoning as an example of like a set that exists, yeah, pretty much you're doing that set now. You're doing that, that text and those sort of questions and everything. So pretty much that entire sort of combination right there, the text and like the questions, is pretty much that sort of entire set right there. And pretty much, yeah, from there you're increasing it. So now 5 minutes to your favorite UCAT section. So I'm sure you would already know what your sort of kind of favorite UCAT sections are and everything. You're doing your favorite UCAT section, pretty much whatever it may be. And usually, and the reason why I'm going with that is because, well, the favorite is, well, it's the easiest sort of thing to do, like naturally, right? For whichever reason, whether it's just because you like it, for its challenge, or whether it's because it's super easy, it's your favorite for whatever reason, it's going to be the easiest to do. Then it's your second favorite. Then your third favorite, and now you're going on to your most hated section. Well, day 10 now, your most hated section. If you don't know it exactly, it doesn't matter. You don't need to sort of like, think about what's your most liked, and then your second most liked, and then your third most liked, and then your most hated. You need to do that at all. It's just simply about, just especially for like the second and third sections, just having some sort of like, general plan. Like, it doesn't really exactly matter, that you're doing your second most favorite section or your third most favorite section or something like that. It doesn't really really matter. Like if you can't really figure it out, just like, go with like, whatever you want. I guess the more point is that you are just sort of training and everything. And I guess you do end up doing your favorite section and your most hated section and everything. I guess the most important thing is that you're really just doing the 5 minutes at the end of the day. Then you're increasing it 6, 7, 8, then 10, and then we're going back to our favorite UCAT. And 6, 7, 8, we're doing that on any section you like. Then on 10, you're actually doing it on your favorite UCAT section. For day 11, 12, and 13, a little bonus thing is that you can do your own favorite any section. You can sort of, I guess, cheat that and do your favorite section. But then the thing is, I will not really suggest it. I suggest you sort of vary it up. So maybe 6 minutes on your favorite section. Then the next day you're doing 7 minutes. That's on like, I guess like another section or something like that. It's up to you. You can do it on your most favorite section, but I would suggest you go to like any sort of random sort of section. You don't just like keep the same sort of one and the one that you like. You keep it up and you sort of like, do a sort of different section each day because it's better for your training anyways and better for, I guess, the habit building. But anyways, or the consistency. Yeah. And then 10 minutes in your favorite UCAT section for day 14. And pretty much the sort of note that I really want to put here is that sort of I was sort of saying just before in this video, the idea is that it's only going to be effective as a training routine months away from the UCAT, as like a sort of like routine that you sort of jump into just to get yourself started. This is not something that you actually want to do a month or two away from the UCAT, when you're more training at like a higher level. This is just simply a way to step into your training as well. The idea is that we're going to be increasing it later as the time goes on. So say, for example, I don't know, like day, so for example, a month or two away, we're going to be working and increasing that time massively. So yeah, the idea is that the best time to watch this video is literally around the time this is released. This is literally the best time for you to at least try to start studying for the UCAT. So yeah, and now we go into the second part and everything, okay? So the second part. So the thing is, now we're really ramping it up here, and it does look a bit more serious, but in reality, the time increases have not been that difficult. We've literally given you 14 days to work from nothing to 10 minutes a day. There are students who are actually trying to go to 30 minutes to an hour to 2 hours in the one day. You got it easy, okay? And yeah, pretty much day 15. So now 10 minutes of training, but you're now splitting it between your most favorite section, second favorite, and 16. You can see all that, 17, 18, 19. You can get those sorts of ideas there. And again, it doesn't really particularly matter what's your second or third favorite and everything. The most important thing is that you at least have an idea of like your favorite and your least favorite, and then also that you're actually doing the minutes. It doesn't actually really exactly matter whether you're doing your first and second or first and third exactly, okay? And then now day 20, we're up to 12 minutes of training split between any two sections and everything, 14, any two, 16, any two. And again, it's just about, yeah, you can do your most favorite and then your second most favorite if you happen to know that exactly. But, the thing is that if you do want to challenge yourself, and what I suggest you do anyways, because it's better for your training and habit building, is pretty much try to choose, vary it up and everything, okay? And then now that's that. So now day 23, and now it's actually it's 18 minutes of training, and then you're splitting the 9 between any of those two sections and everything. I didn't complete that, but it's any two sections you actually want to. It's any two sections that you actually really want to choose and everything. And that's sort of idea. And one thing I actually want to mention as well was actually when those comes to those 12, 14, and 16-minute blocks, you want to sort of split it up into like equal amounts. So 6 for 12, 7 for 14, and 8 for 16. And there any two sections again. And a reminder as well, try not to sort of go for the easy route. You can, but it's not going to be, again, just the best way for you to train, and also best way for your habit building. Okay. Now you go to day 24, which is 20 minutes, split 5 between all 4 sections. So pretty much, yep, all 4 of those main sections and everything, you're splitting that 5, 5, 5, 5. And day 20, and now day 25, it's now 22 minutes. And now the way sort of we're going to split this is that actually we're going to sort of split this in towards a 6, 6, 5, 5 block between your first, second, third, and fourth sections in that sort of order. Pretty much the idea is that we're focusing the time. Pretty much we're focusing on the actual. We're focusing on like, the sections that, you're actually able to sort of like enjoy the most and everything to keep it easier for you. And pretty much then goes to 7, 7, 5, 5, 8, 8, 5, 5, then 10, 10, 5, 5 with those time increases to finish the 30-minute routine. And again, it's about simply 10, 10, 5, 5 for your first, second, third, and fourth favorite sections in that sort of order. So the idea is that's 10 minutes for your first favorite section, and for example, 5 minutes only for your third most favorite section, for example, right? And the thing is that I sort of want to sort of remind you as well with this that, it's true that maybe the second would be the 10 minutes and the third would be the 5 minutes. But again, it doesn't actually particularly matter, like, whether you do have like a second or third section and everything, whether you actually have to sort of like, find that out specifically, it doesn't really matter too much. The main point is that you're doing the time. You're pretty much just like, making sure you're doing the training time, the 30 minutes, and also that sort of training split as well, right? So that's 30 minutes, and now we've got there. So we can see that we worked from simply pretty much working on nothing to now actually working on 30 minutes of training. And this is in 28 days and everything. And may feel like a sort of like, okay, so this sort of like goes to the sort of point and everything. So the thing is that, you may actually feel like this is way too easy. You may feel like you're like, okay, this is way too easy. Let me just like, try to jump like, to 20 minutes on like day 2 or 20 minutes on like day 3 or something like that, because, this is way too easy. The thing is that, the thing is that I would actually really not suggest doing that. The entire point is that it actually starts off very easy, so you can start and actually build something consistent. I would not at all suggest changing anything on the routine yet, even if it feels too easy, because the thing is that this is like, being, pre-built and everything, sort of like, like I said before, allow you to build something consistent. If you try to like, increase it a bit too fast and everything, then the thing is that, you're gonna like, just end up like, you're gonna end up just like, well, the thing is that there's a risk that, you could actually just end up flaming out super early, because like, the entire point of you not going to 20 minutes is because you're not going to build something consistent. Yes, it'll feel fine in the first week, but after the second or third week, you're not going to want to do it anymore, and you're going to stop. And like, pretty much with that and everything. You may have gotten a bit more training in the sort of early stages with the 20-minute rush, but then overall, with the sort of training program and everything, you're actually going to be able to get much, much more. This one that I've given you, much, much more in the long term. And that's what's important and everything. So just don't let your ego get you too high and everything. Accept your limitations, and accept the fact that, unless you have proven to yourself that you actually can just jump into things and just like suddenly work like an hour into it and like, keep that up consistently for a very long time, I very much suggest you stick with this program. If you try to rush it, like I said, you're going to probably fail, to put it lightly. Okay. Bluntly. So there you go. Okay, so there you go. So that's the program and everything. So here's the final summary. Here's the 4-week study plan. It's only a starting plan to get yourself started, to ease yourself into it. No idea what you're going to be doing at your training peak. No idea what you're going to be doing a month or 2 away from the UCAT. It's just simply a quick, simple, easy plan. Well, it's not. I'm not saying it. It's actually not nowhere near, but it's half close. But like, it's close, but it's still like you're only halfway there pretty much to what I'd actually expect you, or you're like a quarter of the way to what I expect you to do at your training peak. Okay, and we're starting off simple and building off into something harder, because in order to be consistent, you need to start off with something easy. But yeah, 4 weeks of training plan. It's a 4-week training plan. You literally are doing less than 2 seconds of training, and you're moving to 30 minutes after 4 weeks. It's honestly a very simple and easy training plan. To start off with 30 minutes, that would be pretty hard. But to actually just simply start with 2 seconds to move in 30 minutes after 4 weeks, it's pretty easy. And, it's going to set you up for success in training in the future. Okay, so there you go. We've concluded today's sort of thing right now. I hope you found today's thing useful. And pretty much just a reminder that there are the Google Forms. We can request an exclusive training and premium training session with me. You can sort of just hop on the sort of form that's in the sort of description. Pretty much as well, there's an online Discord community to be in a community of learners. We can also ask me questions if you prefer a free option. But yeah, okay, so that'll conclude today's video. And a reminder, if you want to score 3,000, you're going to need to aim for 3,600. Thank you for watching today's video, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next one.